Donald Trump is using the weaponized Department of Justice to try to gain an advantage and a majority on the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. There's 7 seats. Donald Trump currently only controls 3, and he's got his eyes on Lisa Cook, who was appointed by Joe Biden in a controversial confirmation. It was a tiebreaker by Kamala Harris. She's eminently qualified, PhD in economics. She has her seat until 2038, 2038, and that's driving Donald Trump crazy. And now he's using Ed Martin, who could not be confirmed to be U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C., but instead as some sort of roaming prosecutor, a minister without portfolio that gets to go over all of Donald Trump's political enemies, rivals, or others. And now he's turned his sights on Lisa Cook. And the part that I find most disgusting about, I find everything about Ed Martin disgusting. But first, they create this fake mortgage fraud investigation where Bill Pulte, who's a Trumper, a Nepo baby who runs Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the mortgage entity. He then makes a fake claim to the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi about we need to investigate for mortgage fraud. Adam Schiff, Letitia James, and Lisa Cook. And then Ed Martin gets a hold of it. And Ed Martin trolls Jay Powell while Jay Powell is now in Jackson Hole, Wyoming for a huge speech tomorrow. I've been talking a lot about it over on Legal AF YouTube about interest rates. And since Lisa Cook was one of the 9 people who voted against interest rate cutting just a week or so ago and may do it again in September, Donald Trump wants her out. So he has Pulte make a claim, then Ed Martin says, oh, we've opened an investigation. And on one hand, he says to Jay Powell, the Federal Reserve Chairman, I can't talk to you about it because I've just opened an investigation, but then publicly releases a letter to Jay Powell in which he implores Jay Powell, who he calls, get this, too late Powell, which is exactly the trolling language that Donald Trump uses against Jay Powell, our central banker. He's always too late. He's too late in cutting rates. Too late, Powell. So you see Ed Martin used too late in the letter that he wrote to him. Here's what he says. Here's what he says in the letter. Let me get it right here. This is the letter that he wrote. He said that an investigation has opened and that it requires further examination. At this time, he says to Jay Powell, I encourage you to remove Miss Cook from the board. Do it before it's, wait for it, too late. Right. Now he's trolling Jay Powell. After all, Ed Martin says with absolutely no credibility nor evidence, no American thinks it's appropriate that she served during this time with a cloud hanging over her head. Let's stop right there. So a cloud generated by Donald Trump and Ed Martin on purpose in order to besmirch the reputation of the first Black woman Federal Reserve governor. It's hard to believe. I'm talking about 2025 and a Federal Reserve that dates back to the first and second Bank of America. And the first time we've ever had a woman, Black governor, one of 7 of the permanent seats, is when Joe Biden got her confirmed before he left office. And now she's not going anywhere. I got news for everybody. She's not going anywhere until 2038. And what she said in response to this generated fake cloud that Ed Martin then he creates the cloud, then he points to the cloud as the excuse to get rid of her. You must get rid of her. I just put a cloud on your, I just threw shade at Lisa Cook. You must now remove her. There's many things wrong with that. This conjured up phony investigation, to which she responded, I am not going to be bullied by a tweet. I'm not giving up the job on the Federal Reserve as a governor, the plum assignment that I've obtained, because you're accusing me of something. I take my financial conduct seriously, and basically welcome the challenge. Let's go. Now, Lisa Cook's resume was challenged by MAGA because they didn't want her on there. Because she served in the Obama administration as the chief economist in his council of council of economists. She served with him there as well. She has a PhD in economics from UC Berkeley. She has like 4 different bachelor's degrees. physics, physiology, politics, and economics, all magna cum laude. She was at Oxford University as a Marshall Scholar. She's a professor of economics. And she, as I said, she was a senior economist in the Obama administration. Eminently qualified. Now, how does this work? And why does Donald Trump, and Donald Trump's getting it wrong anyway. And so is Ed Martin. Jay Powell can't fire her. She can resign, but he can't fire her. There's only one person that can remove Lisa Cook, President of the United States, and only for cause. And that's what the Supreme Court has told him. And that chaps his backside. That's why he backed off of Jay Powell, who's not going anywhere until May 2026 or 2028 for his full term. And that's why, as the chair, and that's why he's going to have to get rid of Lisa Cook, but only on a charge of for cause. Something bad or unlawful happened or wrongful happened that she did. He tried it already with our central banker, Federal Reserve Chairman Jay Powell, claiming that he allowed a $2 billion overrun in 3 buildings being remodeled to the Federal Reserve. That didn't work. Remember the infamous walking around with a hard hat with Jay Powell, and they pulled out a piece of paper and said, "You're actually over by more money, by $500 million more. It's right here in a document we obtained from your own people." And Jay Powell looked at it and blinked and said, "This is about a building that was built 5 years ago, basically when you were president." So why is he going after Lisa Cook? Let me give you the structure of the Federal Reserve and how they set rates. This is all about interest rates. It's all Donald Trump seems to care about. And we can't let the president both control fiscal policy, his insane, depraved tariff scheme and economic scheme, and also control monetary policy, which is generally controlled, thank God, by a central bank that's independent. Because that'll just mean that he can just turn up the volume on money and issue lots and lots of money, in order to pump up his numbers and support and prop up his failing economics. And then he's long gone. He's out, and we're stuck paying the bill and stuck with the economic ramifications. That's why we don't let the one person control the monetary policy, the fiscal policy, and then cook the books on the statistics and the indexes and the metrics, right? So Federal Reserve's got 7 members. Then there's 12 members of the Open Markets Committee. The Open Markets Committee is the one that sets rates. It meets every month. 7 of the Board of Governors, including Lisa Cook, sit on that 12. And then the other 5 are the regional the presidents of the regional Federal Reserve banks, including the one in New York. So that's the 12. The last time they voted, and they voted 5 times in a row, you have the interest rates were not cut. And that was a 9-2, somebody sat out, a 9-2 vote with the 2 Trumpers, Waller and Bowman, voting for rate cut. Since then, Kugler, who had been appointed by Biden, Kugler, who had been appointed by Biden, resigned. So Donald Trump's going to get another seat on the Board of Governors. Not on the Open Markets Committee, but on the Board of Governors. Right now, it's 4-3, with Powell and Cook and 2 others democratically appointed, Waller, Bowman, the replacement for Kugler on the other side. Donald Trump wants the majority on the Federal Reserve because that'll help dominate the Open Markets Committee. So he's pressing and squeezing Cook now that he can't do anything with Jay Powell. And Cook needs to fight back. This is a seat she has that the people put her in until 2038. You can't give up by a false attack about mortgage fraud and walk away. They're claiming mortgage fraud against everybody. That's just a ruse to throw shade on you to convince you to quit. And that you cannot do. We're going to continue to follow all of the weaponization of the Department of Justice going after the political rivals and enemies of Donald Trump, including now Lisa Cook and what happens to it. In the meantime, Jay Powell, and I'll report on this tomorrow, Jay Powell is with 40 other central bankers in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, for a huge speech, which everybody's looking at, about rates and jobs. We just had that last reporting that came out just yesterday or so, that the minutes from the Open Markets Committee meeting, in which they decided 5th meeting in a row not to cut rates, came out. And the things that they were worried about, the Biden appointed and the Obama appointed people, the Democratic appointed people, the things that they were worried about all came true. They said weakening job numbers are concerning us. The economy and the lack of growth is concerning us. Inflation is concerning us. And then 2 days after that meeting, because they were right, not the Trumpers, but the others, all the data came out that Donald Trump hated, that he tried to fire all the commissioners about. The job numbers down 270,000 loss. The wholesale price index, the prices that businesses charge each other, up considerably, caught everybody by surprise. That'll end up in consumer pricing. Consumer pricing up. Economists declaring that the tariffs will be eaten by the consumer, will be paid by the consumer. 70% of the tariffs will get passed along to them. These were all the things that the Fed was worried about, including Lisa Cook. So they're going to be meeting in September, but we're going to get an inkling as to where Jay Powell's head is at and whether this is going to be a new middle finger to Donald Trump tomorrow in Jackson Hole. Report back to Legal AF YouTube and Legal AF Substack with me, where I'm going to cover every minute of Jay Powell's speech tomorrow and its impact on the markets. The first video every day on Legal AF YouTube is my video about Trump-enomics. And so join us there if you want to know more. Till my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.